So continuing on to our white label services, we have the 585 here and then the 585B, which is the white label version of this box, with the exception that we added a heat core inside of it, and then we optimized some of the software for the Kodi to unlock some of the CPUs and make it go faster. So we had a lot of requests to bring the A12 model, which is a chipset, the S812 from AM Logic. This one's have the S805 chip, which is debuted out probably about 2014. So they requested that we bring in the A12 chip, which is this one here. Now, we also got requested to bring it in black instead of white, which is how most of the boxes are set up. So we'll have here, this is the Geniatech ATV387, and then we'll call this one the 387B. The B is for the bulk packaging, since it doesn't have any type of retail packaging. And then you'll see that in the MyGica product, what they do is they label it MyGica here, and then they'll have the quad core symbol down here. So this one, there's an option. You could have it put on like this, so we could have the labeling here. The Enjoy TV is actually a trademark from Geniatech, so it's if you Google that, it will go back to Geniatech. So a lot of our customers requested completely no brand on top of it, so there's no traces to the manufacturer. So that's what we have here on these two models here. So let's take a look at the exterior. Let me zoom in on this picture. So starting from the left to the right, on the left you'll see the LED indicators. The first one's for the network. This is for the LAN in the back. And then you'll have the status indicators here. That's going to be for these two. A red one is for its standby, and then the blue is for its on. And then you'll see some blinking when there's some activity. To the right here, you'll see the infrared sensor. This is for the remote control when you're using an infrared remote. So let's turn it to its right. So from here on the left again, we'll see the micro SD. This is compatible if you want to watch movies or some files here. Mostly in SD, because the read and write is not as strong as an external hard drive that you'll use here in the USB 2.0s. The USB 2.0, you could have a powered hard drive and watch movies off there in up to Blu-ray quality, and I believe it's up to 2 terabyte connection here. You'll have 2 of those. Let's go to the back. All right, starting from the left to the right again. This is your network Ethernet port. This is where you want to connect it to the router if you want to get HD. The Wi-Fi works good for standard definition, but you need a little bit more throughput if you want to watch HD movies here on the LAN. The video out used to say AV before. This is if you want to connect it to an older television, or if you need to connect the line out into a receiver that's not compatible with HDMI. But the preferred method is to go HDMI to your receiver, and if your receiver doesn't have an HDMI pass-through, you want to go out of the HDMI into your television, and then from your television into your receiver. So this is the HDMI here. It's up to 4K on the playback, and then here you have your DC, and this is for your power. So let me zoom out a little bit and we'll look at the antenna. And then let's go over to the right here, and then we'll zoom back in. Here on the right side, I'm sorry, that's the left side, you'll see ventilations. This ventilation is to allow see all the ventilation. That's hard to see there, but there's actually a metal plate behind the hose. That's for in order to cool down the CPU. The entire bottom is basically a big heat plate I'm going to go ahead and open it, and then I'll show you inside, and then we'll look at the motherboard also. So let's take a quick look here. So the part here, this metallic part here, is just for the HDMI. So what it is basically connected to the HDMI to dispense some of the heat off of the cable, and then the air will come in and then cool it down. This is also something that may be used for some of the newer ones when we go from HDMI 1.4 up to 2.0. This one's pretty nice. It's able to cool it down, but doesn't transfer too much heat. It's just enough to give it a little bit more cooling. You'll see here that's the CVBS. This is your network cable, and then the chip for the network cable. And then you'll see some solid state capacitors. Here's the wireless. This is an AP6330, and then it's connected there to the antenna. Then you'll see that LED lights were in here, and then the infrared item is here. Alright, so let's go ahead and take the motherboard out. Alright, so starting from the bottom, you'll see up here the Geniatech stamp top here. That's where they're stamping now their revision numbers. Then you'll see 4 DDR3 RAM. This is because it has up to 2 gigabytes module. I think 1.7 is usable here on the Android system. This is the Samsung eMCC. This is the storage. Here you'll have a transfer material, and then you'll see the AM Logic 812 there. The quad-core processor Octa GPU. This is the reset button. You'll push in the bottom if you need to get into recovery, which I don't recommend unless you know what you're doing, or you could ruin something. Then down here, the entire bottom base is a big metal plate, so the CPU will rest on top of it, transfer all the heat here. The air will come in through the bottom here, and then some of the air will come out of the side here. Allows it to be like it's a big heat plate to keep it cool. So let's take a look here. So you see the heat plates here, and it's a very pretty thick one and heavy. It's pretty heavy. Just the plate itself is pretty heavy. And then it was glued in before. Don't take that out. If you're trying to take it out, it's actually, the pins are gonna come off. So you'll see here. Now, one thing to note here is that the motherboard is risen, and then also to keep clearance to the plate, it also allows air to come in through the bottom.